All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say, because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line. Today's guest is Chris Calabrese out of Brooklyn, New York. Chris is returning on to the Bottom Line Podcast because, we like to follow up, man. We like to catch up, and there's been a lot going on in your life, Chris, right? That I want to follow up on. I want to catch up. I want to talk about a little bit, right? So many things going on. What's new with you, man? What's new? How's the pandemic treating you? How's the world treating you?
Thank God. Just, staying focused, working. I was down in Miami about 2 to 3 weeks ago.
Nice.
And just saw how everybody from New York was down there.
Yeah.
And things are booming like this, a different planet,
Yeah, Miami, huh? So, okay, most people go to Miami and, they visit for a little while, maybe 2 weeks or so, something like that, maybe 5 days, whatever it is, right? I know if I go to Florida, I haven't been to Florida recently, but, it seems to be like the move. Everybody's going. You look through social media and you're talking to somebody like a week ago, and then the next week they're in Florida. There's palm trees in there on their feed. You know what I mean? But you're relocating, or I don't know if you're expanding. It sounds like you're expanding, right? CS organization, expanding out in Miami.
Yeah. So we've been kind of aligning our efforts with South Florida for the last year and a half, and we kind of got a little bit ahead of the curve with that, because we were able to kind of learn the market, make some good connections before this whole wave of New Yorkers and all these other states coming down.
So it was something that was in the works before this big wave, right?
Yes, it was.
Okay. So talk to me a little bit about that, right? Because we got a lot going on right here. I think places like Miami, Arizona, Texas just got hit really bad. We know with the weather. I hope everybody out there is doing well in Texas. But what opportunities? What opportunities stuck out to you to make you want to expand out to Miami? I think it's Miami-Dade, right? Broward and Miami-Dade area around there.
Correct. It's just a different market as far as growth. Last time that we discussed the state of Florida and how it's different than most times with wave of investment is because of the fact that there is a real booming economy that's serving as a foundation for all this growth. When you look historically back in Florida, there's always been something, but it's mostly been driven by tourism. But over the last 5 years, I think that's changed a lot. You have job growth. You have huge companies coming down because of every political and tax reason you could think of.
Yep.
The weather's obviously great. And the returns are still very good there.
Yeah. So is that in addition? So are you going to be relocating, or are you just going to be expanding? Is that in addition to your current, to where CS is right now, or what are you doing?
It's really our primary focus.
Gotcha.
I'm not really looking up here for development opportunity. I think it's just not the right time.
Mm-hmm.
And it hasn't been until we get a new mayor and a whole new outlook for this city. I just don't see any value in pursuing this area right now.
Yeah. So more upside in Miami, it sounds like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, let's go a little bit into a little bit more into that, right? So you sent out a email recently, and you're talking about you're looking for Class A market rental apartments, right? Market rate rental apartments. Let's go into that just a little bit, right? Market rate. What is the market rate right now out there for rentals?
Well, it depends what market we're in, right? What we do is we have a joint venture model where we come in as a co-GP and we team up with either a mom and pop landowner or another developer that has control of the land. We bring in the rest of the required equity and also the debt.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also bringing our expertise.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, when we do this, the only product that we're really, looking to build is between 100 and about 400 units, ground up, between 3 and 8 stories, and Class A product that we're constructing.
Nice. Okay, so here's a little bit of I'm not gonna I'm not gonna try to paint the picture bigger than it actually is, because it sounds like it's very simple. It sounds like it's very doable, and it sounds like you're gonna get the people who want to rent those apartments, right?
Right.
When I started out in real estate, you're talking back 09, 2010, right around there in New York. I started out on 30 Wall Street, right? Platinum Properties, and the West Side was developing right around then. So on the West Side, you had a lot of management companies, and you had a lot of these management companies had these in-house realtors, I guess, or real estate agents, right? And they were developing and they were renting out these apartments before they were even freaking finished, man, right? So like a lot of these were kind of like, you get a model apartment, you get a model unit, and then you show potential applicants the model unit, and then they would be finishing up like cosmetic upgrades or whatever they were doing for the rest of the units, right? So you're going to get this huge influx, I guess, from New York, right, that are going to be coming into Miami. You're going to get that. But are you guys going to have like a real estate arm also, so that you could start, vetting and then filling those units? Is that going to be part of the game?
So that's a great question. I started getting CS licensed in Florida. I'm about 60% done with the process. I still got to handle a couple more items, but yes, that is in the agenda, and we want to keep everything, close knit, and bring kind of the investment sales background that I have up here also down there as well, to complement the development and also, of course, servicing our own deals.
Yeah. So what I'm looking, I'm saying that because it sounds like to me, one of the things that I think was helpful back then in I think 2010 when I was starting out and they were developing the West Side, at that time, they just started coming out with more doorman buildings, more concierge services, more shuttles, because you've gone from the West Side to like 8th Avenue, maybe, down by the river, the Hudson River over there, and coming down to 8th Avenue, there was no real transportation. People would have to troop it. So they started doing shuttle buses and all. And a lot of the realtors or agents at that time that were starting out, they had money. They were renting out these units. They were like, yo, just give me a unit and I'll just like be a renter and I'll also show the place. And they were making their money doing that. You know what I mean? So right now, people are looking for work. You know what I mean? People are looking for work. You got real estate agents who are also looking to get licensed in Florida. You've got real estate agents that don't mind, starting from the bottom again, or just making rentals a part of their current business. So I think that'll be like a good opportunity for any realtors or real estate agents that want to relocate, right, with a new and upcoming and developing, organization like yours. You know what I mean?
Certainly, we have the opportunities on the horizon. And once we establish an office with the brokerage, we'll be able to expand that, into multiple agents.
Yeah. What's realistic? Great. Yeah, I think so, man. What's realistic like rent over there, would you say, compared to like New York rents?
It really depends what you're after and where you're looking. If you're looking in the heart of Miami, it gets very expensive. Nothing like the way New York gets.
Right.
But, you could be paying a substantial amount of money for a one bedroom. If you look in, for instance, Hollywood, Fort Lauderdale, Dania Beach, these areas are, 45 minutes to maybe just under 30 minutes, depending, again, where you're located, to Miami. And the rents are drastically less. You're talking in Fort Lauderdale in the heart of the CBD.
Okay.
Anywhere from $275 to $3 a foot per month in the rents. And obviously that depends on the product.
Mm-hmm.
In Hollywood, you're averaging about $2.25 on new construction product, and that's the same for Dania Beach.
Yeah.
Once you get to Miami, you're in that 350 luxury kind of, area.
Got it.
So there is opportunity, and there's a lot of, I think, supply that was left right before this whole pandemic that is getting eaten alive by all the New Yorkers because they're like, oh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is half of what I was paying.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And you get so many more amenities, man. Those palm trees, forget it. I mean, you
That's
never
right.
want to leave. You know what I mean? The atmosphere, the people there, the culture, so much. You know what I mean? So I'm
Yes.
happy for you. I got a reason to come out to Miami. You know what I
Yes.
mean? I'm definitely happy for you. You're expanding. You're doing your thing. Um, and yeah, man, like I know another guy that I was working with in the city. This guy I'm thinking of, Desmond. I want to see if I can connect you with Desmond. This guy is a beast, right? I think he was talking a lot about that before the pandemic got to the point where it is now. He's a realtor with Compass out in the city, you know. So
Hmm.
that'll be. I want to get connections. I want to have like people that I know that I already have conversations with out in Miami, so I don't feel like I gotta go make new friends. You know? Not that I don't
Yeah.
have a problem making new friends, but somebody who already has like a lay of the land, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. So then you're also another arm with CS organization right now is the financing, right? You're doing financing
Yes.
also.
So we're rapidly growing that side of the business
Hmm.
as it's taken a lot of, I want to say, volume away from the brokerage.
Hmm.
And I've been spending a lot of time on the advisory side. We closed a nice construction loan about a month ago,
Nice. Congrats.
and we're currently working on another 2 to 3 projects right now, different assignments throughout the U.S. And we're very excited to take on more.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're killing it, man. So you're living out here, but you're doing business out there, right? I mean,
right.
that's the game right now, right? It's like, do you think your vision maybe has broadened since the pandemic, like compared to this time last year?
I think that my vision stays the same since you know, I guess, paved my path in the beginning.
Hmm.
However, the pandemic and the last 5 to 6 years has shown me that my vision is not so difficult. And it's very, especially with the pandemic, very easy to transition for most people.
Yeah.
Doing business in New York, when you live in New York, is very simple. But doing business you know, physically in New York and New Jersey, across the country, can be very difficult when everybody's meeting in person.
Right.
But when people took a step back with the COVID and the remote working, I think it just made people like us even more empowered.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you can get to more people faster through like Zoom
Right.
and right DocuSign and everything, right? You don't have to get on a plane now. You could just do it. But there's nothing wrong with getting on a plane, but you don't have to now, right? And the opportunities, I mean,
Exactly.
they're just waiting for you. I bet the market is more affordable out there right now than it was maybe a year before COVID, right? Miami.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. What do you see? Okay, so like let's think about this though, right? So like there's gonna be I'm looking for opportunities for employment for people right now,
Hmm.
right? Especially with CS, so what you're doing. I think what you're doing is it's a what you're doing is yeah, it sounds like you're doing real estate development, but you're contributing to employment in a community. You know what I mean? Like you're creating jobs, man. You know what I mean?
Well, essentially, I mean, I want to touch as many people as I can and bring on board as much talent as I can.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the person. And I want to bring opportunity to myself and them just the same. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
So as long as they have that drive and that kind of suave.
You gotta have some charisma, some
Yeah,
pizzazz.
that's it. You know what I mean?
Right, right. So okay, let's talk about you a little bit, man. Like I'm always a little bit. You got this side of you that's just like, wait, you're shooting for the freaking moon. You know, You're landing on the stars, and you just got this calm, laid back demeanor. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah. I mean, you don't get that. You don't get really, because everybody I've ever met in sales, they're a little crazy. They're a little quirky. They got something going on. You know what I mean? You seem pretty laid back, pretty chill. I want to get a little bit more into like this, and it's crazy because we just started talking a little bit about, um, you know, I say it all the time to people, okay? Don't get upset if you're not eating. You're not eating because you're not hungry, right? You find all the
Right.
excuses in the world. Or maybe you limited your vision. Maybe you're short sighted. Maybe you need to expand your horizons. Maybe you need to make new friends, new contacts, right? I come up with every reason why people aren't eating right now. And I think when we were talking last week, you said something crazy, right? You told me that you're actually a hunter, right? So now
Yeah.
I gotta, when I say to people, eat what you kill, and I've been saying this since we spoke last week, I think of you now, right? Yeah, because I'm like, you can, people say it all the time, eat what you kill. You'll eat what you kill. And it's like, yeah, it sounds good. But you literally are a hunter. Like you eat what you kill, right?
Correct.
All right. I want to talk about that a little bit, right? Let's go
Sure.
into the hunting because Chris, you don't seem like a hunter. You don't look like a hunter. I don't see you wearing any kind of like, hunting gear like ever. You're like a laid back dude. How did you get into hunting? When did this happen?
Sure. Hunting. I got into hunting basically when I was mm, 15.
15. Okay.
It's when I should actually correct that. I started getting into the environment of hunting at 7
Oh, wow.
because I started to shoot the bow, bow and arrow and learning that and then guns and all that.
Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. Do they make a bow and arrow for a 7-year-old?
They do. They
They
do.
do. Wow. Get out.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. They make it for 5 and up.
What?
It's not
Okay.
that powerful, but you know what? You get the gist.
Yeah,
I used
yeah.
to shoot all kinds of crazy things, I just go around shooting.
Yeah.
But and hunting itself,
Yeah.
my first hunting experience was with my father in 2009.
Okay.
Was I think I was 15, I believe,
Okay.
just starting high school,
Okay.
and it was a very interesting experience for me because I've never actually done that. It was the first time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was very interesting.
Let's go
We
back.
stayed.
Let's go back a little bit. I'm still thinking about the 7-year-old with the
Sure.
bow and arrow, right? My son is 8. He's about to turn 9 in March. And we box, we wrestle. You know what I mean? I would have never thought to like get the kid a bow and arrow. All right. I probably would have to go through his mom first, and she'd be like, "No, it's too violent." You know what I mean? It's like, so
Hmm.
talk to me about that. Do you remember? Do you have any memories about being 7, 8? Bow
I
and
do.
arrow. What were you shooting at? Like, what did you shoot? What did you hunt?
Targets, trees. You know, anything that anything that I would see really.
Uh huh.
You know, um, I was addicted to it. I just getting better and better.
Yeah.
And obviously, then I didn't have the right equipment. I was just learning just based off of trial and error, keep going type of thing.
Yeah.
And then I eventually upgraded my bows as I got older. And then, like I said, when I did my first hunting experience is when I got serious and I said, okay, this is really what it is.
Yeah. 15.
Waiting in the woods for anywhere from 6 to 12 hours.
Wow.
And that experience has taught me a lot because I didn't play many sports growing up. This is what I did. I was around, the farm and a lot of outdoor activities.
Yeah.
So I think it taught me a level of calm, a level of patience, and the real motto that is you eat what you kill. Because when I started at 18 in real estate, I didn't have any other job. This is the only thing that I've ever done
Mm-hmm.
is be no salary, just eat what you kill.
Mm-hmm.
So I think hunting played in a lot with that.
Yeah. Oh, so many levels to that, man. Okay, so like let's really unpack it a little bit, right? This is interesting to me because I think so I had a coaching client, right, that he was an insurance sales guy, still sells insurance. I'm not sure. We kind of lost contact. He got married, started a whole new life, blended family and everything. Um, and he was I think he was about what, 4'11", maybe 5 feet, right? So he had this like, he didn't have the Napoleon complex. I hear about these shorter guys who have like this Napoleon complex and they're like outgoing. This guy was complete opposite, but he was a killer salesman, right? Just
Hmm.
very introverted and didn't really believe in himself. You know what I mean? Didn't believe in his ability to start a team. Didn't believe in his ability to lead a team. And I said to him, I said, "Yo, so what are you really good at? What do you enjoy doing?" And he says to me, "I like shooting guns." Right? And actually, how I got to it, right? Isn't that crazy? So, like, how I got to it, I was like, "What do you really give me an area where you're really confident in, and you can teach me something, right?" And I try to get people because I'm always about learning. So I'm like, "What can you teach me, right? What do you like to do
Right.
to like recalibrate? You know what I mean?" And he's like to shoot guns. I said, "You shoot guns?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, we're gonna have to meet at the range, right?" So I look for ranges, and we go to the range, and I've shot guns before as a kid, you know what I mean? But not like serious. You know how it is. Like you're a kid, right? You don't really know about how to hold it and the kickback and aiming and accuracy. You don't know any of that, right? So I probably have shot guns, that way later on, but then I kind of got away from it because it's expensive. And what am I doing, right? This guy has a freaking gun collection, all right? And in the Midwest, so I was in the Midwest when I met this guy, right? In Indiana. Um, these guys, guns is like a hobby for them. You know what I mean? And so we go to the range and he's a whole different person. He's shooting guns and his confidence, his shoulders are back, his chest is out, his chin is up, and he's like an assertive guy. And I said, well, this is who you need to be
Out
when
there.
out there. Because this is really who
Yeah.
you are. You know what I mean? And so with you, and you're saying, listen, I'm in the woods and 6 to 8 hours, that's a level of patience and discipline that I think a lot of people, I know I needed it in the beginning because waiting for a deal to close in real estate was like, a 6 month wait. I'm ripping my hair out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So where do you think, had it not been for the that side of it, the waiting, the patience, where do you think you'd be with your business?
I don't think I would be as equipped to do what I have done and what I will do
Mhm.
without that level of patience. Because that level of patience not only applies in the hunting, in the business, but also in your personal relationships, in your personal life. You teach and kind of structure your thought process upon calmness and precision, especially when you're in the woods. Another thing I noticed is silence, thinking. A lot of people sometimes say, "Okay, it's so quiet," because I'm thinking. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
you know, that act I may be quiet for a few minutes. And I think that plays another role in execution when it comes to business.
Okay. Let's talk about managing expectations, right? Because I think part of what you do in hunting, there are some expectations for yourself, and then maybe who you were out hunting with. You mentioned your dad, right? So let's go back to that first hunting experience. What were your expectations?
I had no idea.
You had nothing.
You
You didn't
know,
expect anything.
no, I didn't know what to expect.
Okay.
I was young, like I said, 15. My father has been hunting since he was in his early 20s. And basically, I said, okay, I'll sit in it was a box blind, and I said, let's sit in there. We sat in there for about 6 hours together in the freezing cold.
Hmm.
And, you know, small talking kind of thing and waiting for the opportunity.
Yeah.
And when the opportunity came, super excited, a little nervous. I pulled through and we harvested a nice deer, and that filled the freezer for more or less maybe a little under a year.
Nice. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you had no expectations. So what I think with expectations is super important is like if you have expectations and you don't meet those expectations, you set yourself up for disappointment. You know what I mean? So the fact that you had no expectations, you didn't really set yourself up for any kind of disappointment. What about your dad's expectations of you? Like, were there any? Do you know?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him that one.
Okay.
What I do know is many hunters that go in the woods and either miss, physically miss, in other
Mm-hmm.
words, with an arrow or bullet, whatever the case, when they're harvesting an animal, or perhaps miss the opportunity because of many, errors on their part, or perhaps they just didn't see an animal. They get disappointed. And I always say, why are you pissed off? Why are you, oh, I didn't see one. It's not about seeing one. It's about the whole process. If I sit in the woods with nothing, just me, just to watch, that's really what it's about, because you become one with nature, you get like a primitive instinct. It's very it's hard for me to describe it, but I will tell you that if you come with me one day,
Yeah.
you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's a culture,
Yeah.
which I know you also like, associated with that. And people usually they think of it like hunting. You just go in the woods, you start shooting everything. It's not the way it is.
No. Yeah. Yeah. So okay, you're interesting, man, because like a lot of what you're saying is it's like it's hitting home for me right now. Here's one thing I want you to think about, right? Excuse me. All right, so let's talk. Let's be real here, right? When you think about the opportunity and the missed opportunities, right? And you put that in the sales game. You put that in what you do, eating what you kill, hunting, your vision, Miami, building CS organization, all those opportunities in that quiet time that comes from you just thinking and then probably recalibrating, putting your thoughts together, right? And really getting in tune. There's this level of instinct, right? And a lot of what I do, like my coaching, a lot of it is me. People don't know it. I don't tell them because it sounds too far fetched. It sounds too esoteric, not unless they start asking for it. What I do is I focus on the intangibles. I focus on how can I help you build relationships through an intuitive connection, right? And so when you said you were sitting in the woods and you were just, being one, I hear instinct. I hear intuition, right? I hear those intangibles. Those are the things that are your driving forces when you're hunting. Let's go into that a little bit when we talk about opportunities, right? Both in hunting and both in your business, right? Are you making decisions? And then you're touching a little bit on something that's like emotional intelligence also, right? Because there's got to be a connection between mind and body, right? So objective and subjective, how you think and how you feel, right? Are you making decisions when it comes to hunting based on complete logic or your feelings about the opportunity? And the same question applies for your business.
Yes and no. Going in, walking into that meeting, walking into that woods, you have a certain level of destination, target, the outcome that you want. When you're in the woods, the outcome is like in your peripheral. The how am I getting there that you came up with, it's no longer relevant. It's in the peripheral. It's all instinct in the meeting, and it's all instinct in the actual woods too, because you're reading either the animal or the person. Luckily, humans they have very good traits with animals, so it's very similar to make that comparison, even though it sounds a little barbaric, but it's not.
Right.
It's really a sales strategy in a sense. Listening more than talking is also part of it, because in the woods you're silent the whole time, and that's another thing that I think is intrinsically important as well.
Yeah. I'm getting an idea of how your mind works now. This is like crazy, right? I want to kind of go in there a little bit more. So let's get into that part of it. And when you say, do you wear like camouflage and all of that? Like, right? I'm sure.
Yes.
Face painting and all of that. Do you do any face painting?
The face painting I spare myself, but I do the yes.
Camouflage, because you got to blend in, right? And I think
Right.
that's okay. So like in sales, it's more about standing out. You know what I mean? Because any markets are saturated, and it's more about standing out. And probably it's funny too because I don't know if you read like Machiavelli, The Prince, right? I read that book in college, and I was like, "What the hell?" I read it because of Tupac, right? I was just like a liberal arts, psychology major. I picked up Machiavelli, read it, and then what I took from it was this is the ends justifies the mean. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So when you're hunting, like you said, it's in the peripheral. You had a plan going in, but now you have to like adjust and you have to be instinctual and you got to be flexible in your strategy now, right? Okay. Have you had more experiences where that has failed you, or have you had more experiences where that has worked for you, both in the woods and both in like in your business?
It's a yes and no.
Okay.
In the woods, I would say a lot of things go wrong, and you got to be patient and persistent enough to get over them. Just
Yeah.
like when you're in a deal, when you think I got it, it makes sense. We're on the same page with the other party. It could easily fall for many reasons. So, the one thing that I see a parallel is the persistence and the overcoming. In like during the pandemic, when things kind of calmed down in March and April, I had a lot of time to kind of reflect on the whole picture and refine everything, as well as myself, and working out, eating even better than I was, and I'm eating good, but just eating like even more like calculated type of stuff, but also being a better shooter and putting in some time into that department, because all the years of allocating all my time to business, I kind of neglected that. And my friend Mike Antolino, who will be listening, he's the founder of Empire State Whitetails,
Okay.
and he's like my Cameron Haynes to Joe Rogan.
Nice.
He kind of has that charisma and that drive in the hunting field and the passion, that I have for real estate. And he kind of helped realign my, outdoors interest, but also, revertedly made me more aware of how much the parallel exists.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that in you because you're very precise. You're super laid back. To me, it sounds like you're super perceptive too. You're very perceptive. I can tell of your environment. And let's go a little bit. It might be a little barbaric, but that's what we are, right? If we're not savages, what are we, right? Men, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, I think we're all kind of. Even look at Mark Zuckerberg. You would think he's like super beta, but he's not. He's putting on his alpha flex daily. You know what I mean? Super and Bezos. You would think he's super beta, but he's flexing every day. He puts on his alpha every day. You know what I mean? So you said something interesting about drawing the parallel between humans and animals, right? The game that you're hunting, right? And so closing the deal. So actually, hitting your target, hitting the game, getting that deer, right? Let's go into behavior, characteristics. Let's go into that a little bit. When you're there in the woods and you're there, you're kind of just, being one, you're being instinctual, you're wearing the camouflage, right? It's, you don't walk around I see guys, sometimes you could tell they're hunters because they wear the gear all the time. You know what I mean?
Those people are often the worst hunters.
Yeah.
They just wear it all the time. They just
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
they're
to.
not hunters at all.
Right? They just wear it because they want to kind of wear it, whatever. But that's another thing I'm saying too. Is like that's the means to an end. You're doing it for the purpose, right? You're doing it for the purpose of hunting, right? You'll see a lot of people wear fitness gear, but they don't work out. You know what I mean? Lululemon this, Lululemon that, but they don't work out. You know what I mean? They walk around with a yoga mat. When was the last time they did yoga? Right? That kind of thing. So it's like the means to an end. Go talk to me a little bit about what you look for when it comes to the behavior of the animal, characteristics, and then also when you're dealing with someone who maybe is a little bit risk averse, right? When it comes to adapting to change. both in the CS organization. I want to say both in the financing side, because that's very high risk, a lot of variables, right? So there are going to be some tells there. There are going to be some character traits there that'll let you know, okay, this person needs a little bit more education, a little bit more hand holding. Talk to me a little bit about that. How do you distinguish between the two?
Sure. So when you're talking about behavior of a person, everybody's different.
Mm-hmm.
Every scenario could be high stress or medium stress. Um, in business, I would say that we, as a team, as far as CS, as far as the financing, right? When you're walking a client through financing solutions, senior, mezz, pref, all these options, you got to lay it out like a map. And you got to lay out the business plan like it's yours and tell the person, look, if it's my project, I would do it like this because of this. And because we're on the principal side most of the time, it's so much more of an appealing conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they look at who we are on that side, I think it kind of speaks a little bit more.
Right.
Versus just a broker pushing like a salesperson, no, do this, with no reason
Right.
or no experience in doing that. So, and then when you look at, for instance, in the meeting room, as a developer, as a principal, you know, when you're talking about behavior of a particular party that you want to do a business with, or you want to try to strike a deal with, it's a lot of patience. I mean, I'm dealing with people that are 100 times smarter than me,
Right.
or you know, or very basic people that are very simple and they have a simple way of life. So we got to adjust accordingly, you know, and that's part of the process of this type of business.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now talk to me
And
about
in the woods,
Yeah, the woods. Yeah.
and in the woods, the animals, you're in their territory. You need to adjust your body, your intention, maybe how you're going to place a shot, everything in accordance to what the animal's doing. And sometimes ethics, morals come into play. You know, we had situations in the woods, like for instance, where you could take a shot, but it may not be the clean shot that you want to make. And hunting is all about opportunity and ethics.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people think, like I just said, it's just a bloodbath, and you go in there with an AR-15. It's not the case, especially
Right.
with a bow. It's such an intimate experience, and everything is so precise.
Right.
You got to be able to not take that shot. Oh, but the animal's there. It doesn't matter. You got to say to yourself, this is not the right opportunity, and I may hurt the animal and you know, cause a problem, which, you know, is terrible. And it's just like in business. If I'm not advising this client right, or if I'm not doing something ethical, it's only going to bite me in the ass because it's going to fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I like that, man. That's deep. Because you're super you're considerate. Like you're a considerate hunter. You're like, for sure, right? That's like sharpshooting. That's why I think the phrase sharpshooting should come from. Like that's where it stems from, right? You're very precise in saying, if I hit this animal right now, it might not be the best shot that's going to take it down. It might suffer on the way out, right? Which causes a disturbance for the other game, right? So then they'll probably be alerted, right? And they'll probably then it makes your job harder, probably, right? So
Yeah, and the biggest thing with hunting is I don't shoot anything that I'm not gonna take the time to, you know, prepare it, store it, and eat it.
yeah,
You know, I'm doing it for the eating more than anything,
yeah,
and the experience.
yeah. Where does ego play a part here, man? Because you know, like, okay, so you talk to me about hunter. I have never hunted a day in my life, okay? And just the idea of hunting, I think if it's not for the bow and arrow, I'm completely against it. You know what I mean? The only thing that I would probably think about hunting would be just for fun. I think shooting pheasants, is that a thing? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
I want to do that because I want to see. Okay, let me see if I got something there, right? And it looks cool. You know what I mean? But then,
It's a lot of fun.
oh yeah, you do that too then.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the ego though, right? Because when you talk about hunting, I think about, chopping that, like when I see movies where they have like the deer head on the wall, you know what I mean, over the mantle or something, right?
Hmm.
Or like they stuffed the bear. Like right now, matter of fact, I'm rewatching Boardwalk Empire. I don't know if you ever got into that.
No, I did.
Oh, it's amazing, right? It's Showtime, Steve Buscemi. Did you ever watch The Sopranos? You ever get into The Sopranos?
It's the funniest thing. Everybody asks me that question, and I never watch it.
Okay. So I want to tell you who the guy is. So it's Steve Buscemi. He plays the mayor of Atlantic City, and he was trained by a hunter, right? He was schooled by a hunter. That he was an apprentice to a hunter, and that guy has like stuffed bears and animal heads, deer heads all over a lot of ego, man. A lot of ego, right? And in sales, there's a lot of ego. You know what I mean? And sometimes the ego gets in the way. In fitness, there's a lot of ego. Ego lifting. Sometimes the ego gets in the way. I'm not hearing any ego from you, right?
No,
So
because when you're in the environment of, let's say, nature, you're nothing. You're a little person in a vast environment
hmm
in which you are the outsider.
hmm
And in a meeting, you need to take the ego out of it,
hmm
whether it's, like I said, advisory, development, whatever the case may be, in any business. And you need to be real with that person and be humbled in where you are and be grounded.
yeah,
And that's the difference. People come in like this,
yeah,
you're not going to get their business
right.
because they got to feel a personal connection just like you feel in the outdoors or whatever the case.
hmm Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I still see a lot of ego in so many different industries, man. Especially where there's high reward. You know what I mean? Because it's like, yeah, I hit
Yeah.
that mark, I hit that target, I catch that check, and it's like, then they go into materialism and all of that, right? Um, I like what you're talking about when you said to me you were able to get. I'm like, dang, so that means you're really good at this, right? Because you said you were able to get enough. What is it? You harvested. You said I want to use the words you used, right? So you said you harvested enough meat for a year.
Yes.
Okay, that's no joke. That's feast versus famine, Chris. That's like real.
Well, it's not that I obviously need to do that. I'm
Right.
not in Alaska or something. It's just that I rather, with my dietary changes that I'm looking to make, I want to be healthier.
Right.
I don't want to buy store bought meat,
Right.
and I want to reduce the amount of meat I'm having in my diet.
Okay.
So, having this culture and this lifestyle, be a part of my life,
hmm
I kind of jumped into that, and I got myself organized for, learning how to do that at an early age,
Yeah.
doing it again. And I'm not the best of the best, trust me. My father's like a surgeon, but I'm working on it,
Yeah.
But it's all about, I guess, preservation. And I'm so into regulation and conservation when it comes to hunting, because
hmm
there's so much more than just hunting. It's just the whole industry itself.
Yeah. Okay. You know why I'm kind of like wanted to have this conversation with you too, especially about hunting, because what you said to me when you said you harvest enough meat for a year, that's more of the lingo that I think needs to come from, or an extension of eat what you kill. Because I'll say eat what you kill to a lot of people when they're starting out. You know what I mean? Especially in the performance based industry. But to continue on that language and that mindset, a guy like you can teach people how to save money. You can teach people how to, like, especially like people are going to be working with you over at CS when you're expanding out to Miami. Is like that resonates on a higher level to me, right? It's like saving for the rainy day. It's like being able to say, okay, I know that now that lenders are going to be asking for at least 2 years worth of savings before they lend me now because of COVID, right? Saving money is so important. And I don't mean like, being frugal, not buying the cup of coffee or not buying the suit. I mean like having a game plan, making your money make money, that kind of saving money. You know what I mean?
Yes. and watching that amount, just like in the freezer. Do I have enough food? Not that I just have to worry about this food, but I'm saying if you look at it that way, as an agent or as an advisor on the debt side, if you only have one deal per year, it better be a big deal.
Yeah.
Because it's got to carry you to the next one.
Right.
Just like this. So it's very similar.
Yeah. And then I think the extension of that too is like you said, you're looking to make a lifestyle change, right? Which comes from like your diet also. And I think that's what happens.
Yeah.
What a lot of us do when we become entrepreneurs is like we grew up without, or we were that part of the have-nots, or whatever it is, whatever the reason is that a lot of people get into entrepreneurship. I find like the most successful people, the most successful entrepreneurs started out with nothing. They got that immigrant edge. You know what I mean? They probably came from another country, or they're probably here in America, but they didn't have anything, and they just got that chip on their shoulder, right? So then they want to change their lifestyle. Let's go into a little bit about that, right? When you talk about changing your lifestyle, is it more centered around you from like a health perspective or like a financial perspective?
It's both. I think it's the whole environment. I'm a very healthy person. I've always been. Um, yeah, I would say last year, going out to meetings, um, constantly meeting people, running around, my friends, this and that. You're going out every night.
Yeah.
So you're having a little wine here, a little wine there. You're having steaks, lobster, what? It all adds up. And I was not fat, but I had a little extra meat that, for what,
Yeah.
And I was not working out because I was too tired or whatever the case.
Right.
In March, I made that transition. I said, you know what? I got to get my body to be able to be better in business and everything in my life.
Yeah.
Get my body, back in shape, in the best shape ever. So I lost like 25, 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And now I'm trying to put muscle on because I'm a little too skinny. But
Yeah.
it's definitely important. And also this whole thing kind of taught me, the amount of money that I'm saving from not running around the city, meetings, this, that, friends, forget about it. You know what I mean? It's astronomical.
Yeah. So would you?
It's also a good thing.
Yeah. So are you like health is wealth? Like, are you down with that?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. Because people say, health is, wealth is like money and all of that, but it's more lifestyle. It's more lifestyle. It's more like being able to, what you said, harvest that meat for the year. I think I'm going to take that from you.
It's about efficiency, right?
Yeah.
If you're eating the best fuel, and venison is probably one of the best red meats you can ever have, you're going to perform better. And I'm not an athlete by any means.
Right.
But performing better in business, I think, is a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Because that's my sport, I guess,
Nice. No, yeah, you're a true outdoorsman. You're a true outdoorsman. I understand you better now, because I think when we spoke in the past, you were like, no, I'm an outdoorsman. I cook on the grill. And I'm like, yeah, I do that too. But you're like, no. I hunt and cook what I hunt. You see, there's a difference there. I don't know where the meat comes from. You know what I mean? So it's like, I go get it. I make sure I look for like, maybe like, I like bison. Bison is really good. Like bison
is awesome.
Yeah, bison burgers and all that. Like, I buy like the ground bison and I'll make like a bison burger every now and then. And it's like, I don't know where the hell it comes from. So, that's a good point, just being able to know what you got. So, okay, just to like get an idea more too, what's like the future of hunting like now, right? Like, are you going further out? Because everybody's like, looking for more land now. People are looking for more square footage because of the pandemic. Like, where do you go hunting?
Well, we have property upstate New York.
Upstate, okay.
We also venture different outfitters in the Midwest.
Okay.
So, those states are Kansas, Illinois, Iowa, Arizona.
Okay.
So, different venues for different type of things that you want to do.
Yeah.
As far as animals, but it's something that I notice is growing heavily around the athlete culture.
Okay.
And also around I would say the media culture, content.
Yeah.
Right now, I think is in the outdoor industry, there's never been so much content and so much money being made on content.
Yeah.
You look at my friend Mike Antolino, he's a dear friend of mine. He kind of started early on that. He's a filmer, he's a hunter, and he's also his own editor. So he's doing the like homemade videos. He's got beautiful equipment that he's bought and whatnot.
Nice.
And it's really interesting when you look at it as an industry.
Yeah. It was the reason I'm asking about like where the future is, because like if you're not a hunter, I'm not familiar with the culture, nothing like that. So it doesn't show up on my feed or anything. And look at you, you're a hunter, but you don't like put anything
Yeah, I
on.
don't flaunt it.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is that like
Because a lot of times it's just frowned upon. People think it's a political like turn off.
yeah.
They think hunter, you think you're a redneck. So there's a lot of different things that go
Right.
into it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't agree with that. I think for me, you know, sometimes I think I was in another life. I was maybe like some kind of like conqueror, or I was like part of an army that worked with like, you know what I mean, with a conqueror, like a Genghis Khan ish kind of Mongolian. Like I think at some point I was like a warrior in another life. You know what I mean? I mean, so yeah, that's crossed my mind every now and then. Yeah. So what does the future look like for you? Say 3, 5 years from now, maybe 5 to 10 years from now.
I want to grow my business to the level in which I see it, which is a fully operational, I would say, national developer and advisory
Yeah.
firm, and hopefully have a family by then and be well established in my own personal life.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Is that thing you're gonna pass down? Like your father passed down hunting to you, you'll pass down hunting to your children?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
if they want to do it, of course.
Right, right. I'm asking too because like, you hear a lot of people talk about how work-life balance is so hard to achieve. But I think what you said, that's really key. That kind of gets me to where I think there is such a thing as work-life balance. Um, 7 years old hunting with your dad, you know, that's work-life balance. That bond that you create, that you get from hunting with your dad, that's work-life balance. Because you're teaching, at that age, you're learning how to take care of your family, how to provide, how to build a relationship, and also how to become a man. You know what I mean? And there's
Hmm.
other things that I guess mothers do with their daughters, but I don't see that there has to be a divide. You know what I mean? I think hunting is like one of those things that you can create that balance, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I believe that connection, like for instance, me and my father at that age, exists even when I'm alone
Yeah,
in the woods. You know what I mean? Just being in that silence, being in that thought, the relaxed state,
yeah,
it provides that level of bond.
yeah. That's cool, man. That's cool. I really like that. Yeah, now I feel like I know a lot more about you and where your business swag comes from, right? Definitely,
Yeah.
man, for sure. Yeah. All right, let's play a quick game, right? It's called you remember the hands down, the lightning round?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
hands down, right?
Hands down the lightning round. Quick game. I ask you 3 topics. You tell me your bottom line about these 3 topics. If you don't like the topic, you say pass and we move on, right?
Hmm.
Okay. If you weren't doing what you're doing in real estate, what else would you be doing? What other career path would you have gone down?
I don't know.
No?
The bottom line is, if I was doing something, I would have to be in love with it.
Got it. Yeah.
That's the bottom line there. I don't know what that is though.
Okay. All right. Okay, so you got Elon Musk with the Hyperloop, okay? So it goes subterranean. You're driving the car stops like somewhere third lane, and it goes subterranean, and you can pretty much get away from traffic. It helps you, get through traffic underground, right? Then you've got the same car could go up in the air, and it could turn into an air mode of transportation. So it would have been like Uber Air, but they sold Uber Air. So you're sitting in a traffic jam and your driver asks you if you want to go subterranean or if you want to go in the air. What are you choosing?
I would say in the air.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say, unless there's something that I don't know. Maybe it's safe for subterranean. I don't know. If I'm doing it, I would say if I'm the one driving it, I would go in the air.
In the air. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. And the last one is so you're super like health conscious now and everything, right? Like you probably know a
To an
lot
extent.
about what to eat, right? Okay. Would you grow your own crops, right? Or would you, instead of growing your own crops, have them, say you grow a crop and then you clone the crop, right? So that you can have an excess amount of crops. Which one would you go with, the natural grown or the clone?
Natural.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just go to the store and get the GMOs. That's it.
That's what I was going for, right? The GMOs, because that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Since we last spoke, let's go into your bottom line, Chris. What is your bottom line that I don't know if it's changed, that reoccurring truth for you? That no matter what, in spite of any setback, you go to this truth and it continues to help you go forward. What is that for you?
The vision, the destination, and persistence. Till I get to where I want to be.
Nice.
Personal and business.
Nice. All right. And where do people find you?
Find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, my website,
Yep.
in person.
And employment opportunities.
That's
Employment opportunities. Where can people start looking for those employment opportunities?
on my website under the career.
So it's CS organization. Hold on here. Let's
.com.
see. CSorganization.com. Look for the careers, right?
Careers tab, right?
Yep. Opening up in South Florida, Miami-Dade. Happening soon, right? No launch date just yet, but
That's
soon,
correct.
right?
Soon enough.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, follow Chris. IG, LinkedIn. He's not on Facebook, but he's definitely active on IG. Check out csorganization.com. Look for employment opportunities. Working in nice, sunny Florida, Miami. All right. Any last words, Chris?
Thank you so much, Dennis, as always.
Yeah.
And I look forward to next time.
Yeah. Happy hunting.
Thank you.
This was the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line.